So let's talk about dark, dark cubed. Um, what made you want to start this company?
So after I left the White House, I went over to the Department of Homeland Security. At the time, it was called NPPD, NCSD. Now it's called CISA. So it's the
Uh-huh.
group in DHS that does cybersecurity for protecting the federal government and protecting critical infrastructure. I had a chance to work on a number of fascinating programs there. One of the last programs I worked on was an information sharing program to say, how do you take classified intelligence from the NSA, give it to DHS, share it with commercial companies to protect critical infrastructure, right? So how do you protect a dam using TSSCI classified information? And, we built this program and it got announced in an executive order by President Obama back in 2013. And I came away from that experience being like, this is expensive and complex and hard, and there's got to be a better way. And so, building on all my previous experiences in that time at DHS, I said, what I'm really passionate about is how do you deliver kind of automated security analytics, automated protection to the mass market in a way that's affordable and easy to use. And, that was really the foundational. And it sounds silly, but it really was like the back of the napkin sketching out this idea of the architecture. I mentioned the black box. And the original architecture here was, how do you share information that on a threat to tens of thousands of companies and not really reveal sources and methods? And then how do you collect everything that's coming into those networks and anonymize it so you don't know whose network is seeing what? And if you can have that anonymization kind of minimization on both sides, then you can do some automated protection at scale. And we actually got a patent on that architecture in August of last year, which was pretty exciting to get my first patent.
That's really cool. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
So besides you, are there any other founders with Dark Cubed?
So I had co-founded the company back in 2014 with a woman, Teresa Payton. We had started a company, Fortalus Solutions, together. So it was a services company. At the time, 3 young kids in the DC area, you can't just, I wasn't the guy with a bunch of money, as you said at the beginning. I wasn't backed by, millions of dollars. And so I had to bootstrap it. And so we started.
There's this wonderful assumption that comes with you working at the White House, that just because you're there, you get to do all of this insider trading, just like everybody in Congress.
Of course. Just tap into all that email and figure out where all the money's going ahead of time.
100%. All right. So you had to bootstrap it. You started this company.
Yep. And then we spun the 2 companies apart from each other about 3 years ago. And so, it's really hard to do a services and a product company at the same time. And so we spun the companies apart 3 years ago, and it's been a great adventure ever since.
Good for you. Now, since you've split the companies, do you have any investors into Dark Cubed?
Yeah, we've raised a good amount of funds, not a lot. We've been very capital efficient. The early days we raised from family and friends. The idea was, we're going to try to raise as little as we can and kind of bootstrap this product and spin it out. And then we did a seed round and then kind of a small A round. But we haven't really had a large institutional round yet.
So ConnectWise or Kaseya don't own you yet?
No.
Okay.
No, and they're trying to snatch up everybody, aren't they?
They really are. So figure 6 months and you'll be owned by somebody. And hey, more power to you, man.
For us, it's, the pure focus is mission oriented. Like none of my leadership team, I am not motivated by, can I sell this and make money and walk away? Like I'm motivated by the mission of what we're doing. Cause I don't think, regardless of what you hear in marketing, most of it's false advertising. Nobody's really passionate about this SMB broad market problem. And that is,
they're not.
In cybersecurity, you have a lot of geeks like me who love the really hard security problems. And so we have some really cool, sophisticated, advanced security tools that I'd argue, aren't necessarily helping at the large scale, right? We still end up with a lot of complexity and challenges in the biggest enterprises that are spending $1 billion a year. But as you go down market, like there aren't good solutions. There are a couple of point solutions that are good in terms of MDR and EDR and that sort of stuff. But if you want to build a SOC, good luck. It's not going to happen.
So where are your developers located?
So, a key part of our business, coming from my background at the White House and DHS, we actually work with the Department of Defense as a part of our business. So we're supporting, it's a program called DICE Cubed. DICE is the DoD cybersecurity information sharing environment. If you're a DoD contractor and you get a breach, these are the people that you have to notify that you've had a breach. And so we actually have a program with them where they are funding licenses for free to the members of the defense industrial base. So, if you're a cleared defense contractor, meaning you have a facility clearance and you're working with the DoD DICE program, you can get Dark Cubed for free. That relationship comes with requirements, of course. So, our developers are primarily W-2 employees. They're all located here. We have a small development team. We're working on a fundraising round in 2022 to build out that team. We don't have a bunch of Ukrainian and Russian developers. We don't have a bunch of Indian developers. This is about doing a product and doing it right.
So all of your team that are W-2s are all US?
Yep.
Nobody in like Israel?
Nope.
Okay. Just a lot of countries that people are worried about now.
Look, I sometimes I try to keep my tinfoil hat in the drawer, but I definitely have a tinfoil hat. I've seen a lot of things. I've done a lot of work in.
Well, you should have a tinfoil hat. You're the security guy.
Yep. And nation states are active in doing things, and vetting people is really hard.
Now, you keep saying nation states. So when I think of, let's just say Israel, because I just brought them up, I think Israel and I think country. You think nation state? Is there a difference?
When I use the term nation state in the security realm, it tends to be, well-funded groups that are doing activities in the cyber domain for national purposes, China, Russia.
So it's
Iran,
not necessarily like China's military doing this stuff. It's China funding a private organization that could be doing this stuff, hypothetically.
Yeah, and I think the lines get blurred, right? I've kind of been in a lot of discussions, and I think one of the things that informed me the most on the China thing is like, in the US, we have this mentality that in capitalism, like companies compete against each other, but you shouldn't steal information. And I think kind of one expert told me, in China, it's not necessarily stealing. It's like taking advantage of an opportunity. And so like, if that information is available for the taking, why would I not take it? And so like that, it's not a matter of right and wrong like we like to think it is. It's a matter of like what's the best path to success. And so in that, like, of course, you're going to blend military capability and commercial capability. There are a lot of examples. When you're thinking about Huawei and ZTE and Tuya in the IoT space, that these are private companies that arguably are doing work on behalf of the nation state.
That is something I never really thought of, that perspective. I appreciate that.
Of course.